Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into something absolutely crucial in the world of construction, specifically when it comes to cranes.
Cranes, absolutely.
Yeah, we're talking all about crane safety. And, you think about those massive pieces of equipment lifting those incredibly heavy loads way up high.
Yeah.
The margin for error is, well, there really isn't any margin for error.
Right.
And you know what really struck me when I was doing the research for this episode? It's not just about the operator's skill or the crane's maintenance.
It goes beyond that.
It's the communication between the operator and the signal person. That's the lifeline of a safe crane operation.
It really is. When you think about it, the operator's up there, sometimes hundreds of feet in the air. They can't see everything that's happening on the ground.
Right.
They're relying on the signal person to be their eyes and ears, to guide them, to make sure everything moves smoothly and, most importantly, safely.
It's like a dance,
It is.
This intricate dance between the operator and the signal person, and just one miscue, one miscommunication, one moment of static on the radio, that could have some really serious consequences.
No doubt about it. And that's why OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, they have very specific regulations in place. OSHA standard 1926.1410 to be exact.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all about ensuring safe crane operations through reliable signal transmission. They know just how critical this is. This isn't just a suggestion, it's the law.
Right. And I got to be honest, sometimes those OSHA standards can be a bit much to wade through, a little dense.
Oh, absolutely.
But we've got you here. So for our listeners out there, the crane operators, the aspiring operators, the safety personnel, what are the real key takeaways from this OSHA standard?
Well, it all boils down to this. You got to make sure that every single signal is crystal clear and understood, no matter what, no room for ambiguity. And that means before you even start lifting anything, you're testing those communication devices. We're talking radios, telephones, whatever system you're using. Is it working? Is the signal strong? Are there any weird interferences?
So it's not just about having a radio, it's about having a radio that's working perfectly.
Exactly. And you also have to think about the environment. Is there a lot of background noise? Is the signal person speaking clearly? Sometimes even regional accents can lead to misunderstandings.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I actually remember reading about a case where it was a signal person with a really strong accent, and they shouted, "Lower the boom slowly." But the operator, who wasn't used to the accent, thought he heard "lower the boom" all the way.
Oh, wow.
And luckily, they were able to stop it just in time.
That's a close one.
But it just shows you how those seemingly small things, those communication nuances, they can have some huge consequences. And, while we're talking about potential for confusion, what happens when you've got multiple cranes operating in the same area? How do you keep all those signals straight?
Well, that's where those dedicated channels come in. OSHA really emphasizes that. You want to minimize the risk of someone misinterpreting a signal intended for another crane. It's all about keeping those lines of communication clear.
Right, dedicated channels. But what about those situations where sharing a channel is unavoidable? Let's say a crane operating near railroad tracks. How do you ensure safety then?
You're right, there are those specific scenarios, and OSHA acknowledges that. In those cases, it's all about pre-planning, coordination, and crystal clear protocols. Everyone involved needs to know exactly who's communicating when and on what frequency. It's like, a well-choreographed dance. Everyone's got their steps and they're moving in sync.
Got it. So really clear communication is key. One thing I've always found really interesting in these OSHA regulations is the requirement for hands-free communication systems for crane operators.
Yeah.
At first you might think, well, that's just a convenience thing, right? But when you really dig into it, it makes a lot of sense from a safety perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a crane operator. You're way up there, responsible for this massive load. Your hands need to be on those controls, making constant adjustments. You can't be fumbling with a radio or a phone. That's just asking for trouble.
That makes total sense.
A hands-free system, it's not just about making the operator's life easier. It's about eliminating a potential hazard. It's about keeping those hands where they need to be on the controls, ensuring that every movement is deliberate and controlled.
So when we talk about crane safety, it's clear that communication isn't just one element. It's really the foundation, isn't it?
It is. It's the bedrock of everything else. You can have the most skilled operator, the best maintained train, but without clear, reliable communication, you're putting everything at risk.
So for our listeners out there, especially those who are working with cranes every day or aspire to, what are the top 3 things to remember?
Well, number 1, always test your communication equipment before you start any operation. Don't assume it's working just because it worked yesterday.
Right.
Number 2, be hyper aware of your surroundings. Is there anything that could interfere with the signal? Background noise, other equipment, weather conditions, you name it.
Okay, be aware.
And number 3, and this is huge, make sure everyone on the team understands the importance of clear, concise communication. No jargon, no slang, just straight to the point instructions. And if there's ever any doubt, Ask for clarification. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
I think you nailed it. Clear communication, awareness of your surroundings, and a team-wide commitment to safety. That's what it all boils down to.
Absolutely.
And, it's amazing to think how technology will continue to shape the future of crane safety and communication. I mean, who knows what kind of advancements we'll see in the coming years? Maybe even AI-powered systems that can predict and prevent potential communication breakdowns.
That's a really interesting thought. I mean, we already have systems that can monitor wind speeds and automatically adjust crane operations, so why not communication?
It's an exciting time to be in this industry, that's for sure. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into crane safety. We hope you found it informative and, most importantly, helpful.
Stay safe out there, everyone.
And until next time, this has been Safety One Source.
Safety One Source, your trusted partner in safety.